When I moved into Oakridge Meadows, I promised myself a break. After 12 years working with the Department of Homeland Security, all I wanted was silence, a small house, a coffee on the porch, and no one asking questions. For the first few weeks, life was perfect, until the HOA noticed I didn't attend their mandatory neighborhood meeting. A letter arrived, bold red letters stamped across the top. Violation notice. Braiwan. Non-compliance with HOA participation policy. I almost laughed. Participation policy. Since when was living quietly a violation? I ignored it. A few days later, 3 people showed up at my driveway, fluorescent safety vests, fake badges that read Community Enforcement Unit. The leader, a woman named Cheryl, said, "Sir, you've repeatedly violated community codes. Step aside while we conduct an exterior inspection." I calmly replied, "On whose authority?" She tapped her plastic badge. "Ours, HOA Security Division." That's when I knew this wasn't normal. Most HOAs fine people. These folks acted like a task force. They walked around, jotting notes, photographing my mailbox, my fence, even my dog. When I asked for a written warrant, Cheryl snapped, "This is private HOA property. We don't need one." That's when I turned on my dash camera. Inside, I could feel my old instincts kicking in. Years of surveillance work, reading faces, analyzing tone. These people weren't just bossy neighbors. They were running a power trip operation, using intimidation as control. They left a summons on my door, demanding I appear before the Neighborhood Compliance Tribunal. Funny thing is, that tribunal wasn't listed anywhere in county records. I made a few quiet calls to local law enforcement contacts. What I found made my jaw clench. The HOA's security division had been issuing fake citations, collecting fines, and threatening residents for months, all under Cheryl's command. And no one had challenged them. But they just messed with the wrong neighbor. That night, I pulled every file I could find. County records, HOA filings, bank reports, anything that had Cheryl's name attached. What I found made my coffee go cold. The Oakridge Community Enforcement Unit wasn't registered anywhere. Their fines were being funneled into a private account under Cheryl L. Dawson. She'd collected nearly $47,000 in fake HOA fees in less than a year. And to make things worse, she had helped 2 board members who signed every phony citation. I knew I couldn't walk into this like an agent. I was off duty. But as a citizen, I had rights. So I planned something better than confrontation exposure. Installed hidden cameras on my porch, garage, and even a drone cam across the street. Then I waited. 3 days later, the HOA enforcement unit came back. Same uniforms, same arrogance. Only this time I was ready. "Sir, failure to appear before the compliance tribunal is a major infraction," Cheryl barked. "You have 24 hours to pay $2,000 or we'll escalate." I smiled. "You mean escalate to where your fake courtroom?" Her expression stiffened. "Excuse me." That's when I opened my laptop right there on the hood of my car and played the live drone feed. The entire HOA team caught on camera extorting another neighbor just an hour earlier. The silence was heavy. "You're being recorded, Cheryl. Every word, every threat." She tried to snatch the laptop, but that's when real police cruisers turned the corner. I'd sent the footage directly to the County Fraud Task Force, along with my compiled report. Within minutes, the officers were out, badges visible, not plastic this time. One of them stepped forward and said, "Ms. Dawson, you're being detained under suspicion of fraud, harassment, and impersonation of authority." The look on her face was priceless, pure disbelief. Neighbors gathered. Phones out. The HOA police were handcuffed in front of the same homes they'd bullied for months. That night, my phone buzzed nonstop, residents thanking me, sending screenshots of the HOA group chat filled with panic. By morning, the Community Enforcement Unit signs were ripped down. Cheryl's so-called tribunal? Gone. But this wasn't over. Because what I found next wasn't just fraud, it was a cover-up. The next morning, I thought it was finally over. The fake HOA police were gone. Cheryl was facing charges, and neighbors were celebrating their freedom from her reign of nonsense. But peace didn't last. 2 days later, I received a letter not from Cheryl, not from the HOA, but from a private law firm representing Oakridge Holdings, LLC. The same name appeared on Cheryl's fake forms. I froze. That wasn't just a rogue HOA, that was a shell company. So I went deeper. With access through public records, I traced payments from homeowners, fees small monthly, amounts that somehow ended up funding commercial properties downtown, laundering money, using a neighborhood HOA as cover. It was far bigger than Cheryl. I compiled every document, timestamp, and transaction into a single encrypted drive, something I'd learned to do back when I was active duty. That night, I met with Detective Alvarez, the lead on the county's white-collar crimes division. He flipped through my binder, his expression darkening with every page. "You're telling me this HOA was a front?" "Not just that," I said. "It's a cash funnel with fake enforcement to keep everyone quiet." They launched a full investigation the next morning. Subpoenas went out. Bank accounts froze. Within a week, 2 more board members resigned under pressure. One tried to flee the state. Cheryl's husband? Turns out he'd been the accountant. The arrests made local headlines. Fake HOA busted for fraud and extortion, FBI. Consultant-assisted investigation. When the news vans rolled into the neighborhood, people clapped as officers carried out boxes of evidence. The community had been living under fear, and now, finally, truth. As for me, I didn't stay long after. I'd done what I came for, brought peace, exposed corruption, and reminded everyone that power means accountability. Before leaving, a kid down the street waved and shouted, "Hey, are you really FBI?" I smiled. "Nah, just your neighbor who hates paperwork." The whole block laughed. Weeks later, I got a short email from the new HOA president, polite, professional, and genuine. It simply read, "Thank you for helping us start over. No more fake badges, only real community." I leaned back, smiled, and finally closed that folder for good. Evil hides best in plain sight until someone with courage shines a light.